Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Okay. We are in. Let me post streams of the Discord. 141 subscribers, look at that. We're going up in the world. Okay. Hello everyone and welcome back to ESRL for another dose of racing on a Friday. We've Division 1 once again. Luke's is out on the Inters. Not sure if that's legal in ESRL. It isn't in APP, but either way. Welcome everyone. I hope you've had a good week, and what better way to start the weekend than with some action in Qatar from ESRL. We've got plenty of drivers taking to the track, including this man, the Season 1 ESRL champion, Amir. He's back in the cockpit. It's great to see. He's been taking a while away from ESRL, so it's great to see him racing here once again. A former champ on the track is always great to see. And here he is. He's going to be the first to set a lap as well, so he's going to take us through a lap of Qatar, through that tricky double right-hander, and now to this heavy braking zone for the left. You've got to get a good exit out of here because it's a fairly long way to this next corner where it never seems to end, but finally you get the power down. It feels great if you get it right. Through the rest of the second sector comes Amir. This other heavy braking zone on the exit, very conservative, could have put down a lot more power there, so a long way off what he can do here, Amir, I'm sure. Through these last few corners, the game says that you have to brake for them. You don't actually, you can go flat through all three of those. Amir doesn't though. This one in theory you can go flat through as well, but you've got to be very brave to do it, and Amir brakes for it. But around the final corner comes the Mercedes driver. The Season 1 champion is going to set the initial pace here. I think it's a long way off what he can do, but it's going to be a 1:24.0 from Amir in the Mercedes. We've got Giacalacco coming across the line, and he beats it. 23.7 from the Scotsman. Who's next? It's Scott. He's 1.3. No, he's pole. Scott pole by over a second from Giacalacco. Tired Clown is a new face in ESRL. Haven't seen him before, so good to see a new face on the grid. He's up on provisional pole at 22.7. Great effort from him. Over a second faster than Giacalacco. Palang's on the mediums. DTS Ayrton goes P3 on the mediums. Spelled wrong coming through the last part of the track as well. Hopefully these cars in front of him don't get in his way. Around the final corner comes the American. He seems to be okay though. Down towards the line, DRS open. What's it going to be? I think he's going to smash Scott's time. He does at 21.4. And well, it's more like the pace we're going to be seeing today. That's still an excellent lap from Spaled Long, and still an excellent lap from Scott to be a provisional pole ahead of all these big names. Trugster goes just under half a second behind Spaled Long. Not much between those two at all. As he lets the Red Bull through. Cialdo goes P2 for now. So Spaled's lap is looking better and better as these big names fall short of it. But we've got the championship leader, Mar 10. On a lap as well as his main rival, Short Marcus, in this championship battle. The two of them, let's have a look at the standings. The two of them only 6 points apart, and then NER Ayrton in P3, Speed in P4. Neither of those two are here today, so it's all about Mar and Short Marcus. Hello Rick in the chat, happy you're watching. Fair enough. I mean, you deserve to just sit back and watch after the last race we just did. But Mar 10 coming through sector 2, 53.6. Is he going to go flat through all of these three right-handers? Yes he is, that's more like it. What about this left? Is he going to be brave enough? No, he lifts off. But round he comes to the final corner. It's short. Marcus went only up to P4, so Spales Wong's lap is looking better and better the longer we go on in this session. Martin coming to the line though. Is he going to smash it? It looks like it. It looks like a 1 minute 20. No, yes, it's a 1 minute 21. Not quite into the 20s, but 4.5 tenths ahead of Spaled Wong. That is the pace set by our championship leader. His teammate Clemo has backed off of his lap. Luke's has invalidated, so let's ride on board with Tier as he comes through Sector 1. Hello, Spaled in the chat. Tier's invalidated as well, just as I ride on board with him, so that's a shame. But that's a great lap from you, Spaled. P2 at the moment, and ahead of big names like Cialdo and Short Marcus. And of course Scott. So you must be pretty chuffed with that one, but 4.5 tenths to Martin. It's still going to be a tricky opponent to overcome. The championship leader cannot be discounted at any point. But everyone going into the pits as we start the next wave. Got some time left in you, that's what we like to hear. So hopefully you can get a really good grid slot here. Womax just barrels into the pit lane, doesn't bother with the speed limit. It is only qualifying, so we'll only get a warning for it, so I guess why not. Luke's comes through Sector 1, but he's invalidated already. What about Palang? He's on the mediums. He's coming through Sector 1. Is he going to invalidate on the exit here? No. What about here? No. Nicely done from Palang. Can he finally get a lap on the board is the question. Oh, he gets a huge snap as he brakes, and that's going to be an invalidated lap as well for Palang. He is not having a good session. That's 3 laps he's done now on those medium tyres, all invalid. So not ideal. T-Bran also on a lap, nearly invalidates on the exit there. On the last corner in Sector 1. RS coming to the line as well. DRS open. What's he going to do? He's already out of ERS. Easy to do on this track. Down to the line comes RS at 21.8. Very impressive. Up to P4. And the Jamaican driver looking more and more impressive every week that I watch him. Looking back at Tier 1 quali, you could have gotten second on the perfect lap instead of 7th from Canada. Yeah, I mean it was very fine margins other than Lifebout in that quali, so I wouldn't doubt it. But T-Bran coming through Sector, looking for a decent start to his session. Around the final corner he comes. Is surely going to run out of ERS right about now. There we go. To the line. Looks pretty decent. 22.5 up to P7 for T-Bran, just ahead of Scott. But a lot of people going out on outlaps now as we hit the second wave of lap times in this quali session. But Truck's on an outlap, Short Marcus on an outlap, Martin still in the pits, but Spaled Wong on an outlap as well. He said he's got some time left in him. Well, we've got to see if he can prove it as he lets the Williams through. Someone improved. I can't see who exactly that was. Hopefully Spaled doesn't get in trouble for that, because he was kind of on the apex when that Alpha Tauri came through, but I think he was on an outlap anyway. Someone improved, I think it was Womax possibly, up to P11. Not sure though. Luke's on an outlap at the moment. Clemo just starting a lap in his Red Bull, so let's ride on board with him. Palang finally gets a lap on the board. He's quite a long way down, but he'll be happy to at least be on the board. Spaled Wong just starting his lap as well, but we're going to ride on board with Clemo because we know how fast he can be. The German driver, I think, coming through Sector 1 now, nearly invalidating on the exit there, but just about keeping it on the circuit, and a little bit of a slide on the exit there. Through Sector 2 now, this never-ending right-hander, very nice on the exit. You've got to be so committed through every corner on this track. This is a track all about commitment. Similar, it's basically Saudi but without the walls, which is fitting for the country that it's in. Scapper has just joined the lobby as well in a McLaren, so good to see another driver in the race. Up to 18 now. There's a Clemmer invalidates though on the exit of that flat out right-hander, and he's going to be gutted with that because that was looking like a decent banker lap, but now he's going to have to go again. That's right, on board with Spaled Wrong instead. See if he's up on his time. Through sector 3 he comes, lifts quite a bit for that penultimate corner. Down towards the final corner comes the American driver. Cialda's not far behind as well. He's 4 tenths up is the Mercedes. Here comes Spaled to the line. What's it going to be? DRS Open 21.1, just a tenth away from Mar 10. Very, very close. I think that's Louis right in the chat. Cialda's invalidated his lap in the last few stages. Best tracks are in countries without human rights. Well, I mean, Bahrain. Bahrain's not great. And I don't think the Russian track is very good either. But, oh well. But no, for the vast majority, you're not wrong. But Palang coming through. Amir trying to improve on his lap as well. We know he can do a lot more. Former champion of ESRL from season 1. We're in season 5 now. He's taken a long time off. And of course a new game, so he's not going to be on the form that we know he's capable of. He is nearly a tenth up through sector 1, but he's going to need a lot more than that to get himself up the grid. Cialda invalidated. Womack's into the pits. Tears improved to P11 in the meantime. Tired Clown, is he going to improve? We'll have to wait and see as he's coming through sector 1. Jackalacco's invalidated. Palang is still, for some reason, out on those medium tyres. I'm not sure what he's doing. But Amir, 2.5 tenths up in sector 2. But again, he's going to need a lot more than that. And again, he lifts through these flat-out corners, which he doesn't need to do. Obviously, hasn't done much practice around here, I don't think. And round the penultimate corner and to this last right-hander comes the former champ. DRS Open down towards the line. What's it going to be? It is a 23.6 up to P13, so improves past the Scotsman of Jackalacco, but no more than that for Amir. If you're not familiar with ESRL, none of these drivers are running any assists whatsoever. No racing line, no ABS, no traction control, none of that. All just pure racing. And this is a track that's very difficult as well with no assists, speaking from experience. So it's very impressive lap times coming out here, especially from Mar 10 and Spaled Wrong at the moment. RS nearly invalidates on the exit there. I don't know how he stayed on the track. Penultimate corner stays on as well. He was about half a tenth down through sector 2, so he needs to find some time, leaving it right on the limit, too far on the limit for the Jamaican driver, and he's round at the final corner. He's going to have to go again before the end. But he's still, at the moment, in a very, very impressive P4. So Trugster just starting a lap. T-Bran coming to the end. He's P7 with that one. Improves by nearly 4 tenths, so great effort from him. Tired Clown not improving through sector as well. So let's stay on board with Trugster, as he's going to be the next to set a competitive lap time. A lot of people in the pits. Can't quite see how much time is left thanks to the yellow flag. There we go, 2.5 minutes left. So those in the pits are going to have to come out pretty soon. There's not long to go. Trugster's only going to get this effort, and it's looking like a good one so far. 2.5 tenths up in sector 1 for the AlphaTauri driver. Very nice. Very nice first sector from him. Let's see if he can consolidate it in the rest of the lap. Through sector 2, nearly invalidates there. That was very close. And on the exit here, nearly invalidates as well, but very committed. Good stuff from Trugster. To the sector 2 line he comes. He is 3.5 tenths up. He's lost about a tenth. or no, he was 2.5 in sector 1, so he's gained half a tenth again, and through the final sector nearly invalidates there as well, but just about keeps it on. What about this penultimate corner? Just about keeps it. Not quite as committed as he could be, but just didn't want to ruin the lap, I don't think. Around the final corner, doesn't do what his teammate did. DRS open down to the line for Trugster, looking like a decent effort from him. It's going to be a 1:21.4 up to P3. Great lap from Trugster. Fantastic effort on the second row he goes. And we'll see if anyone can beat that. The Alpha Tauri is looking very impressive. RS is not going to improve though, so he could find himself tumbling down as Short Marcus is still on an outlap. He's a second down. Spaled wrong, has binned it, I think. Or has he retired? I can't quite tell. I can't tell if he retired in the pits or if he binned it, but either way, he's not going to improve. Who's that just improved? It was Luke's to P8 across the line for the McLaren. Good effort from him. That'll be his last attempt. So Trugster, he's not going to be able to improve. He's got nothing left. RS in the pits. Cialda just starting a lap. Short Marcus starting a lap soon. Martin as well, our championship leader. Spaled retired in the pits, so no harm done. We've got DTS Ayrton up to P6 as his Haas teammate coming across the line as well. I think Womack was just starting a lap, or maybe he invalidated actually because he was quite a way up, so we'll see. Yeah, he's 1 lap old tyres, so he invalidated. That's a shame for Womack. Scott on a lap as well in the Aston Martin coming through sector 2. Is he improving? Yes, by half a tenth, so he could find himself ahead of his teammate here in that Aston Martin team battle. Tier's got one last attempt as well. Tired Clown's going to be close, whether he can get to the line or not. No, he's not going to, actually, so no more laps for Tired Clown. It's Jack Alacco 3 tenths up, but he's gone very wide there. Palang finally on the softs and improving by 8 tenths, but we're going to skip to the cars at the front. Is that Martin on a lap in sector 1? Let's see if he's improving. Down towards the sector line. Yes, 2.5 tenths he's improving by. Incredible stuff from our championship leader. Cialda coming through sector 3 now as well. We've got to keep an eye on Short Marcus, who's currently in sector 2. In fact, I'm going to look at him to see if he's improving past the sector line. Here he goes. He's 5.5 tenths up, so Short Marcus looking to challenge for the front row. Cialda coming to the line. Can he improve? Look, it's looking very good, very, very good. 1,000th of a second behind Martin. What an effort from Cialda, but it wasn't quite enough. And Mar's improving anyway. 4.5 tenths up, but he's invalidated. He's invalidated. Short Marcus coming to the line. Can he do anything to challenge pole? It's going to be a 1:21.1. He's P4. So Cialda has missed out on the pole position by 1,000th of a second. He's going to be absolutely gutted. That is the closest battle for pole position I've ever seen. And Speld and Marcus also 1,000th of a second. Look at that. 1,000th. Third and fourth, both second row. Marcus... the Alpines, great effort from them. Clemo comes across the line to P5 as well. Great improvement from him. Amir improves by 3 tenths, but not enough for position. But wow, 1,000th of a second between 1 and 2, and also between 3 and 4. What an incredible quali session. Hopefully the race turns out to be just as good. Wow, wow, wow. How close was that? I'm just going to check the APP Tier 1 quali from Qatar. What was pole? 20.7, so yeah, in Elite I wouldn't have beaten that. Those are some crazy good lap times from those at the front. And Martin was improving by 4.5 tenths as well before he invalidated, so clearly more to come from the German driver, but Cialda's going to be gutted to miss out by just 1,000th of a second. He will start from P2 today. The championship leader in P1. Spaled Wrong will be very, very happy with P3, and his teammate only 1,000th behind him as well. But Marcus is going to have to find some improvement in the race if he wants to cut down Martin's 6-point lead at the moment. Clemo in P5 with Truckster in 6th, RS on the 4th row with DTS Ayrton, and then T-Brand, Lukes, Scott, Womax, Tired Clown, Jackalacco, Tier, Amir, and Palang make up the rest of the grid, who set a lap with Scaparo at the back. Palang did not get a lap in on the softs in the end, but he was improving by quite a bit. So, as the drivers all get ready for the race, any podium predictions in the chat are very welcome. See if you can predict who's going to finish in those top 3 positions. But I think it would be a fool's errand to bet against Mar10 here. Championship leader, full of confidence, and he knew he could improve that lap time by a huge amount, given he invalidated in Sector 3. But still managed to take pole by just the finest of possible margins. So we're about to get ready. It is equal, Louis. Equal cars. Just no one's got any assists. Yeah, if it was realistic, I think T-Bran and RS would have deserved a lot more credit. But here we go, 5 red lights. And we're underway for the Qatar Grand Prix. It's a good start for Mar10 at the front, a great start in fact. And Spelled Wrong, the Cialda under pressure from Spelled Wrong on the outside for the Alpine as they file through turn 1. Short Marker's trying to find a way through as well, as is Trugster, but it's Mar10 who leads from Spelled Wrong, who gets past Cialda, and Cialda's lost 2 positions in 2 corners here. Short Marker's getting his way through as well. Great start to Trugster, down to P5 for the Mercedes after losing out on pole by 1,000th of a second. It could be P6 here as Clemo's got the inside line for the next corner. The Red Bull looking to make the move, but Cialda's going to have the better line on the exit. I think he'll keep the position. A bit of contact in the background there. Somehow they both kept it on the track. I thought that would be disaster for both of them, but Cialda stays ahead, and Mar10 leads the race from Spelled Wrong and Short Marcus. Great effort from the Alpines so far. But a long way to go, of course, in this one. Tired Clown, a long way at the back. Something must have happened to him. That's a shame to see a new face right at the back of the grid. And T-Bran getting past RS down the inside of these flat-out right-handers. Surely there's going to be contact. They just about avoid contact, but RS forced very wide there. Tier gets a time penalty on lap 1 in, well, Tier fashion, I'm sorry to say. Luke's down the inside of the final corner of RS, who's going to ship another position here possibly, but no, Luke's gets on the curb and now under pressure from Womax to the inside. They all file through. Slipstream so strong on this circuit down towards turn 1. Womax trying to find a way through. It's nearly 4 wide. It's turn 1 is 3. There's big contact between the 3 of them. T-Bran is knocked around like a pinball through there, and there's someone's round. That's RS in the Alpha Tauri. That's such a shame for the Jamaican driver, but T-Bran trying to find his way past Scott up to P10 in the meantime, and trying to challenge Jackalacco's up to P9, by the way. What a fantastic effort from him. Let's enable all of these details. Let's put position changes on the screen. That's Amir round as well in his Mercedes. That's disaster for him. T-Bran round as well. So terrible starts for quite a few drivers, but Mar10 stays in the lead. Spelled Wrong just behind him. Both Alpines up 1 position. Cialda down 3. Trugster up 2 in the meantime. Womax, Jackalacco up 4 and 5 places each. Tier and Palang as well. So great starts for those guys, but especially Jacko from 14th on the grid up to 9th into the points already, and he's going to hope that continues. So let's get Let's get tyres on the screen. There we go. So most of the grid starting on mediums, but a few on the hards, notably Spelled Wrong starting on the hard tyres. On this track, there's not actually that much difference between the 2 tyres. They are very similar tyres. So it doesn't matter too much, but Spelled will have a slight advantage in the second stint as he goes onto the mediums, presuming there's no safety car. But he's sticking with Mar for now. He's doing a great job on those hards. and he's going to hope he can continue to do so. Cialda 1.5 seconds behind Trugster. He has had a terrible start to this race. He started on the hards as well, but he clearly hasn't gotten them up to speed in the same way that Spale has. And down in P5 he is. Clemo trying to put some pressure on the Mercedes driver as well. DTS Ayrton looking for a way past two. He's just going to be sitting behind and waiting for something to happen there. Short Marcus right behind his teammate. These top three locked together at the moment. Mar10 not able to break out of range of Spaled, despite Spaled being on those hards. Like I say, very similar tyres in the first stint especially. And I think the second stint, there's a bit more of a pronounced difference between them, but still not very much at all. That may well have been a track limits warning for Spaled as he went wide there at the penultimate corner, has a big snap on the exit, the final corner, but it's not going to be enough for Short Marcus to find his way past. But it's also going to mean Spaled has no chance to get past Mar into turn one. He's going to look for it, but Mar shuts the door within his right, and Clemo gets past Cialda in the meantime for P5. The Mercedes driver just dropping down and down. Scaparo's round with RS. That looks like there was contact between the two of them because they're both round at the same place. RS into the pits. I think that'll be an early retirement, as looked like Amir's gone round at the final corner as well. So some disastrous starts for several in the mid-grid. These top three have had great starts, as well as Trugster as well. He's still punching well above his weight here in P4. Perhaps, to be honest, the way he's been improving this last year, I don't think this is punching above his weight anymore. This is where he expects Trugster to be, which is quite remarkable. As just as commentators curse him, he has a massive snap out of that corner that just about holds on to it, but loses about 7/10 as a result. Now Clemo is right up his gearbox in this final sector. Cialda looking to stay with them as well, but he's really struggling on those hard tyres at the moment. Wills a snap into existence, yeah, seems like it. But as they go through the final corner, it's Clemo looking to make the move into turn one. Is there going to be any move for P1 in the meantime? Look at the overspeed that Spaled has with the DRS. Clemo does get past Trugster, but Spaled decides not to try and make a move on Mar10. Probably sensible, as he doesn't need to. He knows he's got the pace to stay with him at this point. But Clemo up to P4, now looking to challenge up towards the top three. You know he's got the pace, does Clemo. Let's see if he can prove it now in these next few laps. Trugster sticking with him for now, as well as Cialda. DTS Ayrton about a second back, and then Jack Alaco, the next group of cars, around 4 seconds back, holding off Womack for now. He's still in P8. Already the track limits penalties are starting to come in. Scott, Lukes, Palang and Womack all have one. I swear Tia had one. Oh yeah, Tia as well, of course. So I think not getting penalties is going to be very important round here. I had an elite race round here a few months ago, where there was a late safety car, and a guy who'd been basically P6, P5, P6 for the whole race won because he was the only one on the whole grid without a track limits penalty. So it's all to play for as long as you don't keep it clean. If there's a late safety car, you could find yourself in a very, very high position. As Short Marcus now tries to make the move on his teammate. It was a poor exit for Spaled out the final corner, and Marcus breaks late and easily gets ahead. I think Spaled didn't make that too difficult for him. So good teamwork between the two of them, and Marcus up to P2. Mar goes wide there. That may be a track limits warning rather, as Tired Clown is the next one to suffer one of those dreaded 3-second penalties. Palang pits already. That's very early. Possibly some damage to the Williams. As Short Marcus trying to stay with Mar10, his championship rival, the top two in the championship, currently 1 and 2 in the same order that they are in the standings, which you always love to see. Spaled one keeping with them. Clemo not able to close that gap, probably partially because of the DRS advantage. It is huge down to turn one, and Clemo's got a job on his hands to catch back up on raw pace here. He's going to hope they start battling. But at the moment, it looks like all three of them are perfectly content to stay behind each other, but that may change very shortly because Marcus is only 3.5 tenths behind his championship rival into the final corner. He gets a bit of wheel spin though, it gets on the curb a bit on the outside and doesn't quite get it turned in as much as he'd like. There's 2 time penalties in quick succession there further back, and Marcus is not going to be close enough to make a move into turn 1. He's got huge overspeed but not quite close enough, and Speldwong making sure he doesn't go into the back of his teammate there as well. Womack finally gets past Jack Alako for P8. So good stuff from the Bulgarian, but Jacko will still be very happy to be in the points, I think, as will Scott. He's in P10 as Trugster gets himself a time penalty. They're going to come thick and fast this race, so keep an eye on the top of your screen for when they arrive. I do apologise for the barking as a new dog. But Cialda also with a time penalty, but sticking with Clemo, so he's finally gotten those hards up to speed. Liking, as he's now going to hope that Clemo drags him up to the top 3, but at the moment that is not happening. Clemo 3 seconds behind now. It was 2.3 not that long ago, but look at this, the gap's very small between the 2 main championship rivals once again. Martin just 2.5, 3 tenths ahead. Can Marcus get a good exit out the final corner this time? Clemo now gets a time penalty as they are still all coming in. Marcus gets a much better exit now. Doesn't get on the curb like he did last lap. Spaled stays with them, but here goes Marcus. He's using the ERS. Mart's got a lot more in the tank, but it doesn't matter because Marcus is going to go down the inside with the DRS. There's contact between the 2, more contact as they go down the straight. No love lost between the 2 rivals, but Marcus is just about through, and he's going to take the inside line for turn 2 and take the lead of this Grand Prix. But Martin's not done yet. He's going to look to the outside of the next double right-hander that's coming up. Surely he's not going to make that work, and tries for the switchback, but can't get a good enough exit for it to work. We've got yellow flags. That's someone round. Clemo and Cialda swap places. There's a virtual safety car as Marcus nearly loses it. Perfect timing for him as he lost the rear completely there, but Cialda getting past Clemo just in time for that virtual safety car to come out. I think that was Luke's who lost it in sector 1 and caused that. Is there going to be no front wing on that McLaren? Indeed there isn't. So there's your explanation for why this VSC is out. Amir into the pits, taking advantage. He's going to go onto the medium tyres. I don't know if they'll make it to the end. It will be quite a stint, but only a VSC at this stage. But I think every Qatar race that I've commentated raced in other than one has had a late safety car. If I remember rightly, Marcus into the pits. Martin dives in as well. That was right on the limit of being over that pit lane entry line, and we might see a report in the stewards for that later on. But Spale takes the lead as a result on those hard tyres, of course, as everyone else stays out as well. So Cialda up to P2, Clemo just behind him in P3, Trugster up to P4 as well. Where are these 2 going to come out? I think they're going to come out right behind this big pack of cars, which is exactly what they didn't want. Short Marcus, yeah, Marcus and Martin both coming out in 10th and 11th, but they do have quite a bit of clear air in front of them, but when they catch up to that pack of cars, it's going to be a bit messy, I think. So this is going to be really interesting. Mars actually gotten a much worse deal here out of the pits. He's 8 tenths behind him, could lose DRS if he's not careful. He's got to drive his heart out here to stay in DRS of the Alpine. But at the moment, Marcus is beating him on this outlap, 1.001. It's very, very close as they go through Sector 2 now. A change of position further back, but we're going to ride back on board with the top drivers now. After Marcus and Martin have both pit, Speldwong leads the race by 5 seconds. He's going to be hoping for a safety car to come out. That would be perfect for him. But Marcus and Mar are going to take those hards all the way to the end. Big snap for Cialda there out of the penultimate corner. Could be an opportunity for Clemo, but I don't think he's close enough, unless there's another mistake. Well, there's a mistake, but it wasn't from Cialda, it's from Clemo himself, out of that final corner, just losing the rear a bit, and Trugster could take advantage here. Look at that slipstream that he's got in that AlphaTauri, but he can't quite get close enough to make a move, doesn't use the ERS to try and challenge the Red Bull, just wants to keep behind him and let him tug him along at the moment. And now Short Marcus and Mar already catching up to Scott and Tier just ahead. Those two fighting through turns 1 and 2. This could be a big problem. We've got a safety car. What's happened? I think it's for an Alfa Romeo. It's for T-Bran. Yeah, T-Bran spun at the final corner, lost his front wing, and the game's called out a safety car. And it's terrible timing for the two championship rivals, Marcus and Mar. Well, they're of course going to stay out, but all those in front are going to get a free pit stop under the safety car. And are the likes of Cialda and Clemo, or Clemo and Trugster, going to come out ahead of Marcus and Mar here? It could be very close. And Spale Wrong's also got a decision to make. Can he take the mediums to the end from here? Same for Cialda. We're about to find out what he thinks. Because if he does pit, he will come out ahead of the two championship protagonists. He does pit. He thinks he can get the mediums to the end, possibly, or maybe hoping for another safety car later on so he can do a two-stop. But into the pits comes the American. Very slow in, though, and that could cost him some crucial seconds. Cialda in as well, thinking the same thing. I think that's going to see everyone who hasn't stopped yet into the pits under the safety car. And where are Marcus and Mar going to come out? Mar just saying hurry up to Marcus there, just on the run to the final corner. But of course he's not going to overtake him at this point. Where's Spaled? He's just coming out the pit lane now. It's going to be very close between Marcus and his teammate. There is Spaled. Is he going to get ahead? Yes, he is. So Marcus now leads the Grand Prix just about from Spaled Wrong, who's managed to pit, but not quite in P1. Tide Clown gets a pit lane speeding penalty under a safety car, which is fairly embarrassing for him, unfortunately. But that means Mar 10 is in third place, behind the two Alpines who are going to fight tooth and nail to keep him behind. This is fantastic for Short Marcus, as Mar10 is going to have to do a lot of fighting here if he wants to win this race. Nearly goes into the back of Spaled there on the exit of that corner. And he's also got Cialda for company. We know how far Cialda is from quali. He didn't enjoy those hard tyres in the first stint, but maybe he'll find it easier on the mediums and could challenge the top three as well. He does have a track limits penalty, but this is Qatar. You never know who's going to get one later down the line. Any one of those top three vulnerable to getting one. In fact, while we're talking about it, let's check their warnings. So let's see, Marcus, he's got one warning. We'll just make sure that it is for track limits. Where is he? Short Marcus. Yep, track limits. Spaled Wrong. He's got two warnings, presumably for track limits. And Mar 10 has one warning. So Spaled Wrong currently on two warnings. He's the closest to a penalty. Marcus and Mar both on one each. But still plenty of time to go in this race. Very, very easy to get track limits warnings around here. So it is never over at this point. Even as you go on to the final lap, it's never over for extra track limits penalties. As we see Palang get one under the safety car, which kind of proves my point. Down past the line they go. Coming up to the halfway point in this race, but not quite there yet. RS, by the way, just about beat those top three out of the pits. So he's avoided being lapped, and he is going to have an opportunity to get himself back in this race. But he's got a lot of catching up to do to get, well, first of all, to get up to the safety car, and then to get past many, many drivers on his way back into the points. Sort of see if he can do that. We know he's fast. From his quali, he was right up there. Long way to go. So you'll file through. Let's do a quick helmet review because I think it's going to be a while until RS catches up. T-Bran and Palang swapping places somehow. That could cause an issue. But short Marcus. He's got yellow, black and green. It's quite nice. I wish we could change cam to see it from the outside. Like if we could go into chase cam and then rotate the camera, that'd be great. But sadly we can't do that. Yeah, I'll give that a 6.5. It's not bad. Spared wrong. Oh, black with sort of red paintbrush markings. That's quite nice. Yeah, that's an 8, I think. Quite like that. Mar 10, just a classic red, white and blue. Yeah, not too bad. Again, I think another 6, similar to Marcus's helmet really. Both tasteful colour schemes, so I think a 6 is fair. Cialda, red with a black pinstripe in the middle. It's quite classy, isn't it? Yeah, that gets a 6.5, I think, from me. Clemo using a Max Verstappen default helmet, so that's 0 out of 10. Nothing to do with Max Verstappen, that's just what all default helmets get if they haven't designed them themselves. Trodster, green with a big blue stripe in the middle. I don't like the sort of the colour combo there. It could have sort of desaturated both colours and had a nicer looking helmet. So I'll give that a 4.5. DTS that's in pure black by the looks of it. So we can't really give it any higher than a 4. Jack-a-lantern, quite nice. Good colour scheme. It's one of the simple ones where you only have to change 2 colours, but quite a nice colour scheme. Give him a 7 for that. Wumax, white and red, showing looking like a Canadian flag there, even though he's Bulgarian. I'm sure that's not intentional. But yeah, it's 5.5. Tier, same helmet design as Jacko, but he's yeah, it's the same design, but he's swapped the 2 colours. The black is the main colour and the orange is the secondary. I like that better than Jack's, I'm not going to lie. That looks significantly sleeker than Jack's. What did I give Jack's? It's 6.5? No, I give it a 7. So tier, I'll give an 8. That's a nice helmet, that. Scott, that's a default 0. 0 default helmet. Tired Clown, can't really see because of the Aston Martin camera being further up than the others, but it does look rather nice from what I can see. I don't know if we're going to be able to get a better view here. Safety car will be in this lap, so I have to hurry up a bit. But yeah, there we go, safety car in this lap. Yeah, can't quite see, maybe we'll see as he comes around this corner. Oh, that's nice and tasteful. It's like a golf livery helmet. Yeah, I'll give that a 9 actually. Maybe 9.5 even. Very nice helmet. 0 for T-Bran, and I think we'll switch back to the front. We'll review the others later. Palang, Scafro, RS and Amir are the ones I haven't done. So Marcus is going to lead us off on this safety car restart. He decides when to punch it. Cialda driving side by side with Mar here as they go towards the final corner. Marcus is going to leave it quite late here. Around the final corner he comes. The safety car's well in. He can go whenever he wants. He's still leaving it here. We'll run on board with Spale to see when Marcus goes. Down to the line they go. They're still slow. Someone's gone round. That's Palang at the back. They're off here. Marcus has gone, but Spaled has been caught out, and Mar 10 absolutely has not been caught out. Spaled is going to have to defend to the inside here as Mar tries to go round the outside of the Alpine driver into turn 1. This could be a dream restart for the Red Bull, but he can't quite make the move. He's going to get the better exit here, though, out of turn 2, but he's not going to be quite enough. He's through turn 3. There he goes. He's to the inside. Is he going to brake late? No. He sensibly backs out of that. That was never going to end well if he sent it there, and he has to consign himself to P3. There's a lot of position changes going on at the back. That's tier round, and a lot more drivers around, I think. Spelled wrong. Sticking with his teammate, though, it's still an Alpine 1-2 as it stands, with Martin in P3, Cialda in 4th, and pretty much all as it was in the top 6 or 7, but further down it's been absolute chaos. Jack Alako's up to P8, he's back past the Bulgarian of Womax. Scott is P10, still in the points, but for how long? Because here comes RS. What a restart it's been for the Jamaican driver. He's up to P10 already. He was 18th at that safety car restart. Incredible start for him. There's Jack Alako round further back with DTS Ayrton. There must have been contact between the two. That's a disaster for them, but it's only a yellow flag. I don't think any damage to the two of them, as Sean Marcus is going to be passed by his teammate here down towards turn 1. Spaled sets the fastest lap and now leads the Qatar Grand Prix here in ESRL Division 1. RS up to P8 now. Incredible, up 10 places in 1 lap. Absolutely incredible restart from him. That has got to go in the Hall of Fame of greatest safety car restarts. P8 for him, and but he's got quite a bit of a gap, 1.7 to the top 7. He's going to have to work hard to close them down, but it is still these top 3 nose to tail. But Marcus struggling to stay with his teammate. He's not liking these hards in comparison to the mediums. Of course, Spaled will come to him later in the Grand Prix as the mediums start to wear down, but like I said, there's not that much difference between the two tyres. Especially in terms of wear, and Marcus's hards are 2 laps older, so this could be a dream scenario for Spaled wrong here. He's never won a Division 1 race before in ESRL. He's the reigning Division 2 champion, but what a result it would be for him to win his first ever Division 1 race. And Marcus is now out of DRS of his teammate now, and well, I wonder if this Spaled is going to slow down to give his teammates some reprieve here, because Mar is right behind Marcus. Spaled sets the fastest lap again, and Cialda is within DRS just about as well, but it's right on the limit, and DRS will be enabled this lap. I think it has been enabled? I can't quite tell, but we'll find out as they go past the DRS zone at the end of this lap. And Marcus now 1.2 behind his teammate. Spaled not giving his teammate any favours here. He wants to win this race, and well, why not? When it's your first ever Division 1 win, or would be. It's all power to him, but I think the team game is slightly being neglected here between the two Alpines. Marcus remaining P2, that will surely be a warning for Martin. Lukes is out of the race, he's retired in the pit lane. Tier also into the pits, presumably for a new front wing. But Ty Clown with another time penalty further back, down in P11, as Scott stays on board with T-Brand for now. Still in the points is he. And RS right on the back of Womax now. Yet more yellow flags, that's Palang who's around in Sector 2. But here comes the AlphaTauri of RS, looking to get his way into P7 here. He was P18 at the safety car restart. That was just a few laps ago. And he's looking to get himself into the top 7. It's a long way up to Trugster, 3 seconds. But the way he's going, that could come down as Martin makes the move on his championship rival down the inside into turn 1. Marcus tries to stay round the outside through turn 2. They're still side by side as they go towards turn 3 and then 4. But Martin stays ahead now. And Marcus going to have to try and stay with his rival for pure pace, but the way Martin drove in that quali session, this is going to be quite the ordeal for the British driver to stay with his rival. And Spaled wrong could be getting an earful later on in DMs if they're not in a party, because Marcus might have wanted that DRS to stay ahead of his championship rival, but no help given by Spaled, who wants to win the race, and well, I don't blame him one bit. Cialda trying to stay with them as well. He's 1.2 seconds behind. He's just out of that range, as is Clemo from the Mercedes. But Cialda on the same tyres as Spaled. He's going to have to try and take those to the end. So similar to the Alpine driver, he's going to come to Clemo later in the Grand Prix. As Trugster has fallen out of range as well, about 2 seconds behind Clemo. It seems like he's going to have a lonely rest of the Grand Prix here, is Trugster, because it seems like he's slower than the top 5 but faster than everyone behind him, perhaps with the exception of his teammate, who's absolutely flying at the moment, up to P7. But T-Brand P9, and Tired Clown getting passed by DTS Ayrton for that last points-paying position. Not quite sure what happened to Scott. He's down in 13th now. So something's happened disastrous to the Aston Martin driver. Martin with a track limits penalty. Martin, now the championship leader with 3 seconds to his name, and spelled wrong. He's still on 2 warnings presumably, so he's going to have to really dig in and make sure he doesn't get that penalty, because he's in with a great chance of winning this Grand Prix. If not, Marcus as well, he hasn't got a penalty either. The 2 Alpines, some of the only cars on the track not to have a track limits penalty at this point. The only other ones being T-Brand, DTS Ayrton and Scott. Everyone else with a penalty to their name. And how much is Mar going to regret that? Cialda gets another one further back. Let's briefly switch to the penalties. It's 3 to Martin, 6 to Cialda, 3 to Clemo, Trugster, RS and Womax respectively. 14 seconds for Tired Clown. Oh dear. 3 for Jacko, Lacko, Amir and Scapro, and then 12 seconds each for Palang and Tia. They've not had a good one. Scott finally getting himself a penalty as well. Palang is round at the back. 2, so another spin for him. But Scott now brings us down to 4 drivers without a track limits penalty, and still 10.5 laps left to go in this race. Spelled Wrong has a lead of 2.2 seconds over the 2 championship leaders. I don't think he would have even dreamed of a Grand Prix like this. What an incredible performance he's putting in. T-Brand now gets a penalty, so we're down to 3. It's only the 2 Alpines and DTS Ayrton without a track limits penalty. How long will that last? I do wonder. Palang into the pits again. Is that going to be an early retirement? If I know Palang, and I do, I don't think it is. He's going to stick it out to the bitter end. Tia has been lapped already. In the meantime, no, he has retired. Wow, okay. I guess he heard me and just wanted to prove me wrong. Fair enough. Martin still just ahead of Marcus at the moment, but that penalty is going to come back to haunt him. No, 10 laps to go in this race now. As Tia gets another penalty, that's him up to 15 seconds of penalties as Tired Clown gets past Jacko and Clemo. Like I said, those mediums already starting to fade. Clemo up to P4 in the Red Bull. It's been a great drive from him, and Cialda, from being 1,000th of a second behind pole position in qualifying, is down to 5th place. So he's going to be a little disappointed if he doesn't come away with a podium here. There's still some way to go, but it's not looking good for his podium chances. But he'll still be happy with top 5, I think. It's still a decent performance. But yeah, considering what happened in qualifying, it's going to be difficult for him not to feel a little disappointed. We've got Scapro, that's Tired Clown pitting further back. Set of tyres, possibly a front wing change as well. Spelled Wrong with a 2.2 second lead still. He's holding that lead. Jacko gets another penalty further down the grid. Well, DTS still sticking in P10. It's 5 seconds behind him and 4 seconds in front of him. So, yeah, he's going to have a lonely rest of the Grand Prix unless there's late drama here. Martin now still under pressure from his main championship rival, but of course Marcus doesn't have to overtake him. But the problem that Marcus is going to have is that Clemo is 1.1 seconds behind and catching. His tyres are 2 laps younger than the 2 ahead of him, so Marcus is going to be sandwiched by the 2 Red Bulls before long. And with still 9 laps to go in this race, it's a long way to go for Marcus to hold on to this one. All he has to do is stick with them, but if the Red Bulls start bringing out some dirty tricks, might have his heart in his mouth at some point. in the rest of this Grand Prix. Spale with a 2.3 second lead now. He's keeping those mediums going, which is incredible. Cialda's mediums looking like they're starting to go because Clemo closed that gap to him. But Spale still 2.2 seconds in front, but losing a bit of time through there. With only 8 laps to go at the end of this one. It doesn't sound like a lot from the commentary box, but in the cockpit, it's going to feel like an awful long way to go for Spale Wong. This is going to be the longest 8 laps of his racing career. What a win it would be for him if he can do it, but as like I say, a long way to go. And Ma is closing him down now. I think his mediums are finally starting to lose their grip. Tyre Clown retires in the pit lane, so no drama there. RS gets himself another time penalty, so he's up to 6 seconds, I believe, but he's still holding strong in P7 for now. It's a great result for AlphaTauri as it stands, as Marcus sticking with Ma, but that gap to Spale is slowly coming down, and the American driver is going to feel his heart beating now as he sees that gap come down, because he knows he can't sustain these tyres for too much longer. And once Ma gets in DRS range, this race is going to be quite the spectacle. Ma does have that penalty, but like I said, at this track, anyone can get a penalty at any time, and we know Spale has 2 warnings to his name. One more mistake, and he'll have himself a penalty to deal with as well. Tier gets himself another one. He's up to 18 seconds of penalties, as Scaparo loses out the final corner further back. 1.8 seconds now. That gap is slowly but surely coming down. I think in the next few laps it's going to come down quite a bit faster, as those mediums start to lose their performance. Cialda now in this battle as well. He's caught up. Clemo's in DRS, and that means Cialda also in this train. So it's a 4-car train for P2, and I think in a few laps' time it's going to be a 5-car train for P1. And, well, what an ending to this race we are in store for here. Lap 23 of 29, 7 laps to go. It's now 1.4 seconds to Spale Wong. He is struggling on those aging medium tyres. These hards better at this stage, but of course Ma and Marcus's tyres are 2 laps older, so sooner or later they're going to start struggling a little bit as well. And, well, how crucial could it be? Is that round? It's Drugster round in the AlphaTauri in Sector 1. That is such a shame for him. He's going to go down to P9. Oh, that's gutting. But it does promote RS up to P6. And, well, I know who I'm going to give driver of the day if it finishes like this, just for that recovery after the safety car restart. But Cialda, 4/10 between him and Clemo, and Clemo's in fact lost touch with Marcus, 1.3 seconds to the Alpine driver, so he's now out of that range and not able to challenge at this point in the Grand Prix. Scaparo loses it again out the final corner in the meantime, as they all file through the last few corners. That gap to Spale, still 1.6 seconds. It's gone up a bit this lap, so maybe a mistake from Ma, or just a great lap from Spale, as maybe those hards are going to start coming into their lack of grip as well. Lap 24 of 29, 6 laps to go, as Cialda goes down the inside of Clemo for P4 in this race. Great effort there from the Mercedes to keep on track with the Red Bull, but Clemo goes back down the inside again. I think he's lagging. He is indeed, because he teleports back behind the Mercedes, so a bit of lag there, making my job a bit difficult, but nothing can be done. It's another time penalty for Martin. He's up to 6 seconds. We're going to just keep penalties on the screen now. Cialda, Clemo, Martin and RS all on 6 seconds of penalties. with Womack, T-Bran, Trugster, Scott, Amir and Scapro all on 3 seconds as Amir loses it out the final corner, unfortunately for him. Tyr on 18 seconds, a lap down as Mar loses it out of that corner. His hards are starting to struggle now as well. Spaled is keeping that gap going. He's doing a fantastic job in that Alpine. There's not long to go now, 5 laps at the end of this one. Short Marcus is on to try and make it an Alpine 1-2. What an incredible result it would be for them if they can hold on. Who's got the fastest lap? It is Spaled wrong as well. He is having the race of his life out in front, and Marcus now is right behind Martin to try and make this move into turn 1. Down the inside he goes. Is there going to be contact again? Yes, there is. More wheel banging between the two championship rivals. Martin to the outside is going to have the inside for turn 2. Marcus is going to try and hold it around the outside. More contact as they go through, still side by side. Mars lost it. He's into the wall. The championship leader has lost his nerve. Down to P5 he goes. Surely there'll be a report coming in for short Marcus, but from my point of view, it didn't look like there was any contact that was hard enough to send Mar round. But of course, only he knows it's caused a virtual safety car. He's going to have to pit for a new front wing, but it's an absolute disaster for the championship leader with 4.5 laps to go. It is an Alpine comfortable 1-2. As Spale continues to lead. Cialda now onto the podium, and I said that he'd be disappointed if he didn't get a podium today. It looks like he's going to get one after all. And RS is going to be in the top 5 because Martin's going to have to pit for a new front wing. Is he going to come out behind Trugster in P9? I think he will. Even under the VSC, I think he's going to have to come out on the softs in P9. He will manage to secure the fastest lap, surely, on the soft tyres. But Scaffro gets a drive through further back just to add insult to injury to his already poor race. But Mar into the pits for a new front wing and a set of the soft tyres to the end. Womack gets himself another time penalty. He's up to 6 now as well. T-Bran sitting there in P8. He's looking to get himself to P7 thanks to that extra penalty for the Bulgaria. As is Trugster, who's recovered. He's still in P9. Mar into the pits. A new front wing for the championship leader. Is not going to be the championship leader for too much longer at the end of this race. Down to P9, it could even be P10 here. He's only just exiting the pit lane. Let's ride on board with DTS Ayrton. Look to the right hand side of your screen. Where is the Red Bull? There he is. He's coming out the pit lane in the background, and Mar's going to be behind Scott even here. He's going to have a job on his hands even to get any points. Who's gone round at the front? It's a Mercedes. It's Amir. Oh, it's the wrong Mercedes. I thought it was Cialda. But it is Amir who's been lapped. Thankfully for any Cialda fans in the chat. I'm a Cialda fan after my great battle with him, championship battle with him in the Cockpit Cam Championship last season. So it's good to see Cialda doing well. He's on the podium here in Div 1. He races full time in Cockpit Cam. Mar is already past Scott for P10, but he's got us draw out a 3-second gap to secure that position. I'm sure he will in just a few laps. Those soft tyres are going to be so much better, and he might even clear 6 seconds to DTS Ayrton before the end. I wouldn't put it past him at all. But Mar all the way at the back of the points paying positions, and in fact this race for the lead isn't even over yet because the two Alpines are nearly within a second of each other. Scapo's retired in the pit lane, but it's too late for a safety car anyway. And, well, it looks like there's another battle on track here. Trugster down the inside of T-Bran for P7, looking to recover even further after that spin earlier on. He's going to have the outside for turn 2. It's going to be difficult for him to get this move done, but he sticks it there. They're still side by side. It's another penalty for Tyr. Still side by side they go down towards turn 5. It's a great overtake from Trugster. Kept his foot in, stayed brave, and he's up to P7. So fantastic stuff from him, but T-Bran's coming back at him down the inside of the next corner, and it's great racing between these two as T-Bran retakes 7th place. And well, I thought it was done and dusted, but T-Bran proved me wrong. Trugster gets a much better exit, but gets another time penalty, and that's going to be curtains for his chances of getting past Tibran at the checkered flag. Maar already 3 seconds clear of DTS Ayrton. He could even catch up to Trugster before the end. Only 5 seconds. I mean, it's a lot, but this is Maar 10 on the softs we're talking about compared to Trugster on old hard tyres. Onto the penultimate lap of the race. Spaled has opened up a 1.4 second gap now to his teammate. Marcus has lost time. This is the drive of Spaled Wrong's life. If he can hold this together, just 2 more laps to go. As Trugster loses out in those last few corners to Tibran. So he's going to have to try and find another way past. Maar 10 sets the fastest lap as expected. So an extra point for him in this recovery. But he's going to be livid inside that cockpit. Absolutely fuming. I'm sure a report for Short Marcus is going to come his way. But from my POV... It's difficult to judge, of course, from my POV, and I only get to see it once, but it didn't look like there was any defining contact between the two that was enough to send Maar around. I think he just lost it by himself, but only he will know. As we come through Sector 2, Maar is indeed catching up to these two. He could get himself into P7, yeah. Jakalaka with another penalty. He's up to 12 seconds down in P12. Maar nearly into the back of Trugster there. Has so much more braking performance. He's going to use the ERS. He's going to go down the inside in Sector 3. This could end very badly for him. He backs out just in time, but that was very, very close. Spaled takes us on to the final lap of the Grand Prix, but Maar still trying to get his way to P8. He goes off the track, as he's going to feel Trugster forced him off there. I don't think anything of that sort happened, but here comes Maar down the inside of the final corner now on those soft tyres. Finally makes that move up to P8. No ERS left on the Red Bull, but Trugster hasn't got any left either, and Tibran as well. So Maar going to have to find 3 seconds in one lap and overtake the Alfa Romeo. He's doing that just now down the inside of turn 1. So committed on the brakes. He's up to P7. He's going to look to try and secure 3 seconds on this last lap to make it P7, which would be a class recovery, I have to say, from the championship leader. Marcus is catching Spaled. If he's within DRS range, down towards the line, he might have a chance, but he loses it on the exit there. Clemmer with another penalty, but it's not going to matter for his race because he's 11 seconds ahead of RS. But Spaled Wrong is going to come through the last few corners. He's got 2 corners to go. That is 1 done. Down towards the final corner. Don't get a track limits warning at the final corner, Spaled. The American driver comes round the final corner. ERS deployed down to the line. It's his first ever win in ESRL Division 1. Spaled Wrong wins the Qatar Grand Prix. Short Marcus comes home for P2. It's an Alpine 1-2. What a result for them. Cialda comes home in P3 and finishes on the podium. Fantastic from him as well. Clemmo in P4. RS finishes a very, very respectable P5. Womax in P6. Maar 10 follows him. He's definitely going to be reporting him for weaving, but Maar 10 is going to finish in 7th. Womax in 6th. Tibran didn't quite get enough pace on Maar 10 to be able to keep with him there. Trugster in P9. DTS Ayrton gets the final point, much to Scott's dismay, I'm sure. He's going to finish P11, and then Jakalako comes across the line to complete this Grand Prix. Spaled Wrong with the drive of his life. Short Marcus secures an amazing 1-2 for the team. I think he might find himself in the stewards room regardless of whether it was his fault or not, with Maar 10 spinning out. But Short Marcus will take the championship lead over Maar 10 as it stands. Spaled says he got a puncture last lap. It didn't look like it from my screen. I think you would have been in the wall if that had happened. But he is delighted on that podium. What a race from the American. He wins his first ever Division 1 race in ESRL. Short Marcus was 71% on only 2 lap older hard tyres, so Spaled must have been on 75 plus. Cialda on the podium as well. Spaled was only on 65. You've got to be kidding me. How? There's no way. That is, I mean, tyre whispering at its finest. But all the podium finishers very, very happy, all three of them. There's one of those rare moments where not a single driver on the podium is unhappy. But Spaled Wrong wins the Qatar Grand Prix. Short Marcus in P2. Them two and DTS Ayrton, the only ones to not get a track limits penalty this race. And DTS, in fact, allowing him to get in the points. So fair enough to all three of you. Cialda finishes on the podium, great result for him. Clemo in P4, RS in P5 after being 18th after the safety car restart. Womax in P6, Mar10 recovers to P7 with the fastest lap, but he's going to be fuming. T-Bran and Trugster and DTS Ayrton make up the last points paying positions, and then Scott, Jackalacco, Amir and Tier the last of the finishers, with Scaparo, Tired Clown, Palang and Lukes unable to finish the race. Marcus did only end the race with only one warning. Spaled had two from, I think, lap 7, so that's or maybe lap 12, I can't remember. So that's a very, very nice job to not get another penalty or another warning. But wow, what a Grand Prix that was. Driver of the day, I mean, I'd like to give it to RS because of that incredible recovery, given he was 18th at the safety car restart and he recovered to 5th. He made 10 places in one lap. But his first ever Division 1 victory, and probably the best drive of his entire sim racing career. Correct me if I'm wrong, Spaled, but at a guess I'd say it. Yeah, for me, I think it's got to be Spaled driver of the day, but an honourable mention to RS for an equally incredible drive after that safety car restart. But wow, an Alpine 1-2, what a result for them. Marcus 18 points. And it will be 10th is 1, 9th is 2, 8th is 4, 7th is 6. So it'll be 7 points for Mar10 and 18 points for Short Marcus. So 11-point difference. So Marcus will be leading the championship by 5 points, I believe, after this race. But yeah, Marcus, as Spaled says, it was his best drive, near perfect for his standards, and I'd have to agree. Yeah, Marcus, very gracious in defeat to his teammate, but still, what a result for them too. And what a Grand Prix. Very, very exciting from start to finish. I hope you all enjoyed. I have been Ghost. Have a wonderful week. Like the stream and subscribe if you haven't already. In my run to 150 subscribers, we're nearly there. So I would very much appreciate it. But thank you all very much for watching. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next time for more ESRL. Goodbye.